Hello students, I hope you are keeping well and doing great in your studies. Students, I am back for one more video and it is a doubt solving video of applied English. Students, this is a listening video and total we have completed 21 videos of applied English. Students, I am going to take part 1. It consists of 10 questions. Students, and I have given an assessment task in the previous video, and based on that I am going to have a doubt solving. Students, you have already done your listening in the previous video, and the same listening that you are going to do a second time. And students, make sure that you are going to write all answers in your answer sheet, and since you are going to do a second time, definitely you will get all correct answers. But based on the assessment task, I am going to discuss total 10 questions, 6 I have written on the board and rest I will write on the board. Students, without delay, I am going to play a listening track for you and you are going to write your answers in the answer sheet, and the listening track is here. Along with you, I am also going to do listening and I will write my answers on the board while we have discussion. Students, now the listening track is here.
The test is in 4 parts. Part 1, Part 2, Part 3, and Part 4. Now look at Part 1.
Part 1.
Listen to the news report about a robbery and then complete the notes from the detective's notebook.
First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 6. Now we shall begin. You should answer the questions as you listen, because you will not hear the recording a second time. Listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 6.
There has been an armed robbery this morning at the Halifax Building Society's branch on Edward Street. John Briggs is at the scene with Detective Sergeant Henry Lawson.
Detective Sergeant, can you tell us what you know about the robbery? Yes, the raid took place this morning shortly after 11:30 when a man accompanied by a woman went into the offices of the building society and asked to see the manager. There were no other customers in the building at the time. They were let into the manager's office and the woman produced a gun from her handbag. Then they took the manager back out of his office and made him tell the cashiers to hand over all the money they had in the tills and in the safe. It came to about $25,000. Presumably you have a number of witnesses.
Yes, we have a good description of both of them. The man was about 1 meter 80 centimeters, around 35 years of age, with blue eyes and short, curly, red or ginger hair. He was wearing jeans, a green sweater, and a 3/4 length blue coat. When he spoke to the cashier when he came in, he called himself Mr. Erickson, but we doubt whether that is his real name. But we do know that may be his real name. He also spoke with a strong Scottish accent, which may help us to trace him.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 7 to 10. Now listen and answer questions 7 to 10.
And what about the woman?
Now, she is in her early 20s, slim and quite tall, about 1 meter 70 centimeters. She was wearing a long white raincoat, which was quite loose-fitting, and which she didn't take off. She had a beige handbag, which they used to hide the gun in. She's got straight, shoulder-length blonde hair, blue eyes, and, like the man, has a noticeable accent.
Do you have any other information?
Yes, the car they used was seen by 2 or 3 people. It's a blue or dark blue Ford Escort, and we have the registration number. And it's G595ERI. I'll say that again. It's G595ERI. Now, the car was stolen from Bishopstone just over a week ago, so if anyone has seen it in the last week, we would like to hear from them. We also know that the car's front left headlight was broken when it was stolen, and is still broken, we think.
So, you would like information from the public about the car?
Yes, and the people. We're appealing to anyone who thinks they may recognise the 2 robbers or know anything about the car. We've set up an incident room in Swindon, and the telephone number is 774529. So we would like people to ring us if they have any information. And of course, all calls will be dealt with in the strictest confidence.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And the number again, if you have any information, is 774529. And now back to the studio.
That is the end of part 1.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
I hope you have done your listening of part 1 and you have written your answers in the answer sheet. Now I am going to discuss what answer should be, and then just to check out whether you have got all 10 correct answers. Okay, students. First of all, it is a conversation between a detective's notebook, that means the sergeant detective, and the person wants to get the information from detective's notebook. Now, the robbery takes place a particular name of the building. And what is the Halifax building? And the full name, it is clearly mentioned in the listening. So, Halifax building, where it is society. So, you can hear in the beginning, students, the word Halifax building, society. Okay. Now, there is a description of the whole robbery that you can hear in the conversation. It is clearly mentioned that Halifax building society. When it took raid, the raid took place at 11:30 in the morning, and who were there? There were 2 men and a woman. They both were there, and they took place. There were no customers at the building, and they took some amount of money. And as they entered in the manager's office, and the lady produced a gun from her pocket, and the manager went out. That means they took manager out. And what is the amount that they stolen? Amount stolen is 25,000. Now students, it is dollar. You don't have to put sign. If you put also, it is correct, but make sure that it is $25. It is clearly mentioned in your listening. Okay. Now there is a description about man, about his height, about weight, about clothes. Okay, how he looks and his appearance and all. So age around. As you listen, very attentively, you can get that. What is this age? Is age around 35. 35. Okay. And eye color. So the descriptor says that eye color is blue. If you have done listening, students, you can clearly hear that in the beginning this part, the listening, that not that speedy, but you can get the answers if you have done listening very carefully. It's a blue. And hair or short curly red or ginger hair. Okay, so you can hear this description. Let's move to the question number 5. Clothes. So what type of clothes that he has worn? So the clothes is jeans. What the person that has worn 3/4 length blue coat. Okay, so the descriptor is clothes, jeans, green sweater, 3/4 length blue coat. So this is the type of description that you can hear in the conversation. And what the clothes that the man wore, it is jeans, green sweater. Okay, and accent. So he has a strong Scottish accent. So what is the word that we need to write here, students? We need to write Scottish. Scottish. A strong Scottish accent that he spoke in the cabin. So this is all about, we have question 1 to 6 of part 1 that I have given in the assessment. Okay, but make sure write one word or a number. So there should be only one word or a number, not more than, see, society here, then $25,000, 35, then I color blue. Not more than, it is clearly mentioned in the instruction, students, that no more than one word. Okay, write one word or a number. So it can be only one word or a number. So we have completed a doubt solving of total 6 questions. Students, if you have done listening very attentively, definitely you get it all 6 correct. And I hope just you check it out. And students, I have written the rest of the questions on the board, that is 7 to 10. And students, make sure it is only one word or a number. The same instruction that follows for question 1 to 10. Now we are going to discuss question 7 to 10. Okay. Now there is a description, okay, about a woman. So in the conversation you can hear that the height is approximately 170 cm, okay, centimeter, and age she was in her early 20s, or she is in her early 20s, that you can hear. And what is the color of the eyes? It's blue, and her hair is straight, shoulder length, and blonde, maybe. Okay, and what clothes that she was wearing? Students, in the description you can hear that this information is mentioned first and then the rest of. This is not in a sequence. If you have done listening very carefully, so this you can find here. What type of clothes? So she was wearing raincoat. So I write here raincoat. Okay, if you have done listening, you can get the answer. It's a raincoat. So first this you can find, and then you find the rest of the information. So students, you need to pay attention that here you need to follow clothes, hair, eye color, and age. So if you go in a sequence, you may not get the answers. But sometimes what happens in this kind of description, that you get the first information here, okay, clothes, and then you get the later one. So you need to pay attention. Let's move further. Now it is here car. So what is the car? So it's a dark blue, and it was stolen from Bishop's store last week. If anyone has seen, then it would be really easy to detect and easy to find. So it is, what is the color of the car? It's a blue. So I write here blue. I hope students, you have written blue as well. And the 9th question, that is number. This number you can hear twice, but you don't get confused. This is not the number you need to write here. There is a particular number. It's not a number, but registration number. The registration number of the car. So here the right answer is registration. Registration. Okay, students. It is registration. So this number is, said twice. Many students get confused. Instead of registration number, they write this number in the blank. But you need to pay attention. Okay. Now the last question that we have, a headlight. The headlight was broken and it is still broken. So what word here you can write? Here you need to write broken. You don't have to write was broken. It is clearly mentioned in the conversation the headlight was broken, and the car is the dark blue Ford Escort. So this is the car, and headlight was broken. So you don't have to write was broken, right? Because it is here in the instruction mentioned that you need to write only one word or a number. Students, I hope you have understood all these 5-10 questions of part 1, and the very easiest one that you get it. I hope students you got 10 out of 10. Now after this video, I am going to give an assessment task for you. But in my previous video, I have given part 1. But this time, I am going to give only part 2, and you need to focus for part 2 and do listen. Students, in the next video, I am going to have a doubt solving video especially for part 2. And I am going to play a listening track of part 2 of that English. Students, start listening and let me know that how much you get. I am going to send an answer key the next link and check it out your answers. Now, no part 1 but part 2 of Applied English Listening. And the listening track is here.
You will hear a conversation between an IELTS candidate and an IELTS administrator.
First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 15. Now, listen carefully and answer questions 11 to 15.
Good afternoon. I'm applying for a master's program at the University of Exeter in the UK. I'm planning to register for the IELTS exam at your centre next month. I have some questions I'd like to ask you before I register, if that's okay.
Certainly. Would you be taking the academic module?
I think so, but I'll have to contact the university just to make sure.
You'll probably need the academic because most universities don't accept the general training. And anyway, the procedures to register for the exam are the same for both the general and the academic modules.
Good. My first question is whether I sit all parts of the exam on the same day. I don't live here, you see, and for me it would be more convenient to do all the papers on the same day.
Unfortunately, the speaking part is scheduled for Thursdays, and reading, writing and listening tests take place on Saturdays. We can't change the days, I'm afraid.
That's a pity. Well, never mind. What sort of documents do I need to bring in order to register?
You'll have to fill in the IELTS application form and bring an ID, a copy of your ID, and 2 passport-size photos on a white background.
Will any ID do?
We only accept original passports and national IDs.
That's good to know. Did you say that reading, writing and listening are scheduled for Saturday?
That's right.
Will I get a break in between the papers?
I'm afraid there aren't any breaks between the papers. Each paper takes an hour to complete, so it's 3 hours straight through. You'll first do listening and then reading, followed by the writing test. This is a standard requirement from Cambridge.
Before you hear the rest of the talk, you have some time to look at questions 16 to 20. Now listen and answer questions 16 to 20.
Okay, and how soon after the test can I pick up my results?
It takes 13 calendar days for the results to be processed.
Can you let me know how much it is and the form of payment?
The examination fee is $200. You can pay by credit or debit card. We also accept checks. We only accept cash as a form of payment in exceptional circumstances.
And one last question. Can I mail you the application documents?
Certainly. You can send all the documents by registered mail to our address, 47 Clover Place, New Rochelle, New York.
Could you spell New Rochelle for me, please?
Certainly. Newrochle.
Could I have the zip code as well?
Sure. Our zip code is 10806.
Thanks.
You can also email us at inquiry@examsmail.com or phone us at 325-9082.
I think that's all. Thank you very much for all the information. Bye.
You're welcome. Goodbye.
That is the end of part 2.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.